I want to welcome all ADC stakeholders, welcome us at all ADC stakeholders meeting of members of NWC, BOT, and strategic orders. Due to the timing of the meeting, some of our members have opted to participate virtually. Notwithstanding the fact that this is the last day before the Salah Eid, as committed patriots, we have continued to make the sacrifice of nation building under a harsh and tyrannical political environment. The nation's roads remains unsafe. Transportation and costs are unbearable. Food unaffordable. Security of life and property and general standard of living have taken a nosedive, even though our country is not at war. Our children can no longer go to school, as the kidnapping spree has continued unchallenged. It is like there is a grand conspiracy to strangulate and dehumanize all of us, whether you're a politician or you're a businessman or you're youth or you're women. It's like there's a grand conspiracy to dehumanize and strangulate all of us. We must remain optimistic, notwithstanding. It is heartwarming, dear colleagues, to note that in spite of the reckless abuse of systems and cluelessness or wickedness of those in power, we have continued in the struggle and remain ever committed to the vision of building a superpower, economically viable Nigeria that will be a pride of the African continent. We must not allow them to stop us. We must not allow any challenges we encounter to stop us. As passionate and transformation-centered political party workers, we must remain forthright, focused, and determined. We must not allow the development of the last decade and the recklessness of those in power to diminish our optimism and our resolve. As we have warned at the inception of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu presidency, the palliative system of governance is not an option, as it is unhealthy and demeaning. A government attempting to correct a clear policy somersault with a refugee camp food sharing system is evil, sacrilegious, dehumanizing, and will create ill wind that can only result to a circus of corruption and frustration. We sounded this alarm, and today, the reality has dawned on the nation with almost all elected members, both at the executive and legislative level, involved in the bizarre extravagance of looting. Where is the so-called palliative and the 200 million given to the legislators to go and do what is palliative economy? What's palliative leadership? That's nonsense. How can a country deliberately create a state of chaos and they want to remedy that by what they call a palliative? And you can see the problem is causing for everybody. You don't do that. That's recklessness. In the midst of general poverty, our legislators collect billions of naira and trailer loads of rice as palliatives for their constituents, while the governors and presidency and their appointees now have huge monthly allocations from FAC for the elusive palliatives, and yet hunger persists. Hunger everywhere. A youthful and energetic population of ours have no business being treated as refugees. They need empowering, rejuvenating system and connection with their leaders. And they need their government to create the enabling environment and a clear strategic roadmap for a collaborative and dynamic all-around development. Nothing else will work. Therefore, they should stop that irresponsibility called palliatives. As though the revenues from the 450% increase in the price of PMS is not enough. to maintain their lavish lifestyle, reckless policy regime, and mindlessness. They have put the entire country into another hiking of tax and electric tariffs and jackpots of every revenue platform to the detriment of Nigerians. Not the statistics nor the economics show reasoned judgment of the conundrum we have found ourselves in. Manufacturing companies are fleeing, investors are repelled by the policies, and Nigeria and the people die gradually. The state of the nation is nothing to talk about. It's saddening and arouses morbid fear. Therefore, instead of us wasting our time to embark on hopeless debate with those in government, we should continue to strategize on ways to evolve a new polity and coming together to create a collaborative, value-driven ecosystem to privilege our people and country. We can construct one of the biggest economies in the world, one of the most progressive, integrated, and stable nations under the sun. And we can create the most creative, productive, and innovative population. But an effective leadership must be in place. We may be confronted by the deluge of economists, econometrics, and statistical strong managers and policy workers. This will certainly come to nothing. Leadership is about people, not machines, not plants, not animals, but about people. And economics and it's not about economics and monetary policy, but about the human emotions. It takes a good understanding and application of emotional intelligence and situational awareness to lead and inspire a people to a new way of being and effectively keying into a vision of the future. Our party, the African Democratic Congress, ADC, has been on the forefront of transitioning from our old ways and envisioning a clear pathway for our people and nation. Despite the vagaries in our polity, ADC remains remains a learning organization and a political party that has continued to champion collaboration, coalition building, and alliances to bet a new Nigeria. There have been attempts many times to divert us, malign us, scandalize us, bully, intimidate, and derail us. But like the old expedition leader, Sir Ernest Shackleton, discipline, sense of purpose, endurance, mindfulness, and positive adaptation mindset have helped us to navigate all challenges. And wherever they come from, with following our discipline mode, we will overcome. Today, we have notable leaders and former heads of state and presidents who associate with us on the sound conviction that ADC remains the party for the future because of our values, consistency, and staying power. We must not lose this. Even if every other person are losing their face, we must not lose it. Building a nation is like curating an orchestra. It becomes more difficult when one is dealing with a large spectrum ecosystem like Nigeria, where we have all sorts of shacks, corruption-laden, ill-thinking personalities. The systems, institutions, and processes are corrupted. And we are all responsible. All of us are responsible. It is easy to blame the military for our development miasma it is really, but is it really true? We can say, the military dragged us back, and this also and so within the time. But is it really true? I ask this because some of us were hopeful in our struggle to get the military to refocus on their constitutional responsibility of defending our nation, our national enterprise. But today, with 25 years of democratic government and the incumbent president as one of the leaders of NADECO, how do we explain the valley season that we have found ourselves now? How do we explain that when the people who championed for democracy, one of the leaders in the person of Ahmed Bola Tinubu is now the president of the country, that we are in a complete valley? How do you explain it? And we still blame the military? It's completely wrong. The political class will continue to blame everybody but themselves. We blame the judiciary for biases and democratic system failure. But when different arms of the executives continually go after the leaders of the judiciary, the political players and citizens stay mute and continue to hope that the systems and institutions will get better. How can it get better? I remember was it about 6 years ago, all our top men and women in the Supreme Court were around. Some of them devalued. Some of them forced to resign. How many of the political parties, political actors, where were our citizens? And we allowed them, some of them lost their job, and some of them have died out of the shock. What did we do? And the political people, when they started to fail, they took cases to court and wanted the judges to stand their right. We are all to be blamed. I would have preferred not to mention INEC, but I'm sure we can recall the death of INEC officials for standing firm to protect democratic mandates. It happened in Kano. It happened in Kano, and I think it has happened many times, but about 6 years ago in Kano, somebody of INEC finished preparing an election, wrote their result, and the political players burnt down the house with the man and the family inside the house. What did Nigerians do? What did all the political parties do? Political party leaders, what did we do? We stayed, and we hope that one day INEC will be ready to sacrifice themselves when it's my own turn. These things are wrong. And that's why we say we shouldn't stop, we shouldn't continue standing one place to hope. We should take action. Nobody will take that action for us. And I know we all remember those who had guns pointed at them, and none of the political parties or the citizens stood with them in court. If you remember, there was a time a professor went to conduct elections, I think senatorial election in Imo State. He wrote his result, but some government officials and politicians cornered them and cornered him under gunpoint, threat of his life, that he must recite. INEC stood by him, but political parties refused to stand by that professor. And what happened? People who used gun to harass them got sworn in as senators, as House of Rep members, and so. Neither the National Assembly sanctioned these people. And tomorrow, all of us will stand that INEC will, anybody in the INEC, even if our brothers work there, will risk their life for our own success. Enough is enough of that rubbish. or hoping that the other person would do it. The legislative chambers have never sanctioned the culprits. We blame everybody but ourselves. We continue to hope that all will be well. We hope, but hope alone is insufficient. I say hope alone is insufficient. We have to take action. Action, not hope, is what we need to restructure and resolve our polity, democracy, and nation-building enterprise. Action, no longer hope. In conclusion, we certainly need a new beginning. Pointing fingers of recrimination is not what transformational leaders like us should be doing. As you can see, as we are here, ADC is blazing the trail, and over 22 political parties, over 22 of the thoughtful and proactive leaders of political parties in blazing the trail have joined hands with our party ADC, and and like us are committed to building a larger party that will give accommodation to all well-meaning patriots. Look around the table. Most of the people who we insisted must come, irrespective of the build a platform that will carry everybody who is interested in this enterprise called Nigeria. And we are moving forward on that to show that we understand where we are going. We've created enough room to bring in people. And some of us are ready at the appropriate time to ensure that the structures are put in place proper for a new dispensation to begin. We have resolved to work with all political leaders across that appreciate the need for coming together for a new Nigeria. That's our resolution. We discriminate against none. Our commitment is a new Nigeria that will lead our dear continent out of its present abyss. We have therefore set up committees, different committees, to ensure we have, I can tell you, we have the Contact and Mobilization Committee, we have the Strategic Committee, and we have the Legal Committee. All of these committees are in place. They will swing into action to ensure that we dialogue with all well-meaning and thoughtful nation builders across all political divides. We won't discriminate. However, one thing that must be clear, and the certificate that all of us must sign, including myself, is that we are in this for Nigeria. Nobody shortchanges Nigerians. No more. Because it's a shame that after 25 years, we are at this point. More so when the leaders who championed Nadeko, who championed military must go, are the people in power now. Enough is enough. Finally, we want to appeal to Mr. President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to immediately stop the corruption of the palliative regime and make support available to our youths and women entrepreneurs, farmers, industrialists, to power the economy and provide jobs. Provide jobs, not palliatives. Our security operatives need much needed support to wipe away banditry and restore security. Instead of carrying around trailers, some of them empty because the money has been stolen, and so on. Give the money to the military so that security will be restored. Our farmers can go to the farm. Our businessmen can move. and investors' confidence will be restored so that people can reinvest again in Nigeria. This is a great country. It's being micromanaged, and that is why governors who micromanage their states, you put them at the center, is destructive. This will give confidence to investors, foreign and local. Finally, for the umpteenth time, we call on our governors to stop their stranglehold of the local councils to enable development at the grassroots and the community levels. That's critical for development. There's no strategic map for development that starts from up to down. It starts from down, up. Therefore, our governors, we call on to them, free the states. You are free the local governments. You are holding them like octopus, so that development will begin.
Send warm greetings to all of you. This is one of the things that must happen in order to make progress under a political system like the one we have here in Nigeria. We've just come out of an election a few months ago, and it took us a while to sit down and do a proper post-mortem of the elections in order to be able to pinpoint areas where we need to improve and work harder in order to make the party to be able to attain greater heights in the years to come and in subsequent elections. As it is today, we have 2 rounds of gubernatorial elections coming up in Edo and Ondo states. The party is poised to make a very good challenge there, and we're committed to bringing forth credible candidates that will be able to do well in the elections, and when they are victorious, to be able to transform the fortune of the people they are governing. At the national level, ADC has been around for about 20 years now. We have remained consistent, like the Northern Star. And like the chairman have said, a lot has been done to cripple this party, but we have remained resolute. And today, it's not a coincidence that we have so many of our colleagues, leaders of political parties here in this stakeholders meeting. It is because of the realization that we must come together as people that are determined to make a difference in this country. And truly, if there is any platform that will avail these political actors the opportunity to be able to have their say and be able to contribute to nation building, there is none better than the African Democratic Congress, which is ADC. So what we're trying to do is to provide a very formidable platform that will unite the various political actors in Nigeria to be able to come together in realization of the challenges that are ahead and in posturing ourselves for subsequent elections in the country. Of course, the 2027 elections is in our rear view, and the site is logged onto, and we're doing some of these things in preparation that we can be able to put a formidable team, put our house in order, and be able to face this election squarely. It's not a coincidence that we name our party the African Democratic Congress, because we see Nigeria as a very important player in the scheme of things as far as the African continent is concerned. And we strongly believe that if we're able to get things right in Nigeria, then Nigeria will take its place of pride as the leader of the black nations and of Africa, as we all desire. So hopefully, this small stakeholders meeting will blossom into greater avenues for collaboration, for partnership between various political actors in a way and manner that will have a national rebirth built around our party, and that national rebirth should be able to project Nigeria on the trajectory that we ought to be leaders of our continent, the continent of Africa. And so we call on all other people who are sitting on the fence and so far to understand that there's a new dawn. And the African Democratic Congress welcomes all in this new project of creating a new Nigeria that will work for all of us. Thank you very much.